Nice rock. All right, you wanna?
We'll bring it this way.
Teamwork it?
Yeah.
All right, 1, 2. Oh, that's actually not that heavy. A lot of burrows. Wait! Oh my God! That's a... You'll recognize this. This is an orthopteran. That's an ant cricket. I'm Spencer Hoffman, and I'm in Texas wilderness searching for some of North America's most iconic wildlife. We're in the Rocky Hill country, searching for giant centipedes. But these rocks are home to a lot more than huge myriapods. Pass me a little container, because that's... There's more on there. That is something I knew about them. I didn't know I'd ever see them.
Yeah, I thought they were roaches.
What I've gotten here is probably one of the strangest insects you've ever seen. These are ant crickets. They look like tiny little roaches or something, but they're actually really strange little orthopterans. The grasshoppers, crickets, and katydids. And believe it or not, this is actually the smallest group of orthoptera in the world. What's insane about them is they look like tiny little mites or little roaches, something they zip around in and out of burrows in ant colonies. But when you take a closer look, they actually are tiny little crickets. They have, those sweeping antennae, those jumping back legs, and in the case of the females, those little pointy ovipositors. But what's insane is, unlike most other crickets, they don't have a song or wings. And since they don't have a song, it turns out they don't actually have ears either. They don't have any need to hear things in their environment. They completely interact by feeling with those antennae. They have really poor vision. They're entirely subterranean. These guys are zipping around the leaves we put in there looking for cover because they don't like to be out very often. And what's actually crazy about that is they pretty much only live in ant colonies. They can't survive long without being inside of a colony. Ants can be pretty aggressive, so you may be wondering, how do they survive in an ant colony? And that's where it gets kind of crazy. These crickets have evolved a behavior where they actually scrape the scent particles of the ants off of the colony walls and put it on themselves. So what they'll do is they basically start wearing a camouflage, an invisible chemical camouflage that makes the ants think they're one of them. These crickets have been observed taking food out of ants' mouths, and they'll cohabitate with ants, and the ants won't even acknowledge they're there. It's thought that they are probably more parasitic. They are basically hitching a ride on the ant colony and using it as a source of resources and food and shelter. It's not known if they actually have any beneficial effect on the ants. Most of you probably have never even heard of this or even thought that this would be a thing that exists. Jack here thought it was a cockroach. He didn't think it was anything crazy. He still doesn't think it's anything crazy. He's sitting there shaking his head behind the camera. But, as you know, grasshoppers, crickets, and katydids are among my favorite insects of all time. And to find a really bizarre one, and this is something I didn't think I'd ever see. They're really hard to come by. They live in little pockets. This one was living in a group of chromatogusts or acrobat ants. Some species of ant cricket are known to inhabit multiple different species of ant colony, but the only ones we've seen them out here while we're hiking, we've seen a couple pockets of them, and they've always been with chromatogusts. This species here is the Nebraska ant cricket. So I wonder if this one has a bit more specific microhabitats than like the eastern, which is a bit more general, but that is weird. Next time you're flipping rocks and you see an ant colony, take a closer look and see if you see any little crickets milling around with those ants, because that's something it's different. It's something you don't think of being out there and existing, and these guys look absolutely weird. I'm just looking at these crickets here, and it's hard to believe this is a real animal that actually exists. Creatures like that are my favorite out here when I'm exploring, but that is insane. We are gonna actually hold on to these for my personal collection and see if I can learn more about these incredible little animals, but absolute treat. Ant crickets here in Texas. And believe it or not, there are even stranger creatures out there in the natural world. If you want to see one of the most bizarre aquatic insects you could possibly see, check out this video right here where I tracked down the elusive water scorpion. Hope to see you there, but until next time, don't forget to get outside and find your own adventure.